Hello everybody, this is a Lighthouse Hall of Fame film from the European server Sebastian Potachka in his T21. We are in a map we don't see very often in the Hall of Fame, Serene Coast, Standard Mode, South, Spawn. 1 artillery apiece, 2 scouts apiece. Decent mix of tanks on the enemy team, 4 heavies, 4 mediums, 3 TDs, but his team, 3 heavies, 3 TDs, 6 mediums. So they're heavy on mediums. They're going to be more mobile, better able to attack, whereas the enemy team's a little bit better on defense. He's going to start off moving over here to the west. Good spotting bush over here if you choose to use it. Serene Coast is kind of a cool map in that scouts can pretty much go anywhere and be effective as long as they're paying attention to where the enemy tanks are. Very easy to get caught in crossfires here or get sniped by tanks you weren't even aware had shots at you, because there's a lot of angles upon which you can fire long distances across the map if somebody else lights you up. E25 sitting here next to him. A lot of tanks moving here over behind him, so once these lights start getting into exposed locations, they should start getting some good support fire. And E2 falls victim to his spotting. You reach a point where the enemy team advances enough, or your tanks advance enough to where your spots are no longer needed, because when anybody comes out into the open, the tanks visually acquire each other without your spots, and so at that point it's time to move on. And I think that's what he's decided has happened right now. The lead tanks are only 100 meters away from each other, so there's no reason for Sebastian to be there. At distance, providing spots is great, but once the teams are up close and personal, it doesn't help anybody to say, "Hey, I see that tank." It's like, "Yeah, thanks, dude, but you know, I've seen him for the last 2 minutes now. Go do something else." And that's what he's doing. Got a fire, which is always fun to see as a scout. Probably fun to see as anybody. Shoot somebody, get a fire. Hey, free damage. Cool. They're starting to break down the western flank up in the B3 and 4 area. He's coming in to help down here. Take the middle over. West plus middle almost always going to equal a win, as long as you don't give up too many tanks in the process of gaining territory. I think 304 just tried to pick him off. He gets the Cromwell. There's the HTC looking the other way, but the 54 mod is right there, so he can't pull out and take advantage of the flanking opportunity. Now he gets spotted. 54 is caught between 2 tanks. Looks like he's going to keep paying attention to the medium. TD still not caring that he's moving in behind him. He's going to end up caring.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy is hit. Enemy armor is hit. Penetration. Penetration. That one bounced. Enemy armor is hit. Enemy armor is damaged.
And there he goes. 54 never came back to help. TD's probably cursing him right now. Plenty of allies back on defense. He can come up here and help with the 54 if he has to, and then it's going to be a giant flanking opportunity. It ends up becoming more and more of a blowout. I'm always amazed at how many posts there are in the forum complaining about the number of blowouts in this game. And it's really no different than any other game where you're going head to head with equal number of opponents. There's going to be a lot of blowouts just because of the way it is. You don't get reinforcements. You don't get to replenish your hit points or anything in the battle, and so there's a low right there. Doesn't appear to be looking at him, so we get to shoot until the guy rotates. Once one team gets a 2 or 3 tank lead, yes, there'll be times where the other team comes back, but there's going to be a lot of times where the tank with the team with the numerical advantage will be able to exploit that and turn it into an ever widening gap in terms of numbers of tanks. Because you're going to take simple attrition plus the fact you have more guns coming to bear, you're going to be able to out damage the enemy team at that point, and the natural result of that is big wins. So if you can get a couple tank lead early on, and then you have any degree of competence in the play of your team, you're going to end up getting a lot of blowouts. And it's not that the game's messed up. It's not that matchmakers messed up. It's like that's how games like this normally go. And now it's down to just 2 tanks left. 25/2 in the IS-3. He's going to come over here. Don't know where the IS-3 is, but he knows where the TD is, and I think he's going after them. As he pulls up, there's the IS-3. Fortunately, looking the other way, he goes behind him. The IS-3 still doesn't see him, and now he's dead, and that's the game. Meanwhile, the IS-3 is going, oh, what? What just happened there? All of a sudden, there's a light behind me. How'd he get behind me? Didn't even see him go by. Didn't even give any indication that he cared that he went by. Like, he was locked in at what he was looking at, and now he gets to be on YouTube looking like a fool. Sebastian ends up with 2,376 points of damage and 4 kills. 29 of 32 shooting, 91%, 1,421 spotting damage with 5 spots. He lost 13,246 because he was throwing around some premium. Something you tend to do in this tank if you want to have consistent performance from it, depending on what tier tanks you're going up against. You don't always get the good flanking opportunities, and so you have to switch to premium if you want to maximize your shot opportunities. He ends up getting 2,108 XP, survived the fight, got Fighter, Spotter, Duelist, Fire Perfect, and Bruiser mini medals, and ended up with a battle score of 2,143, which puts this battle into 7th place on the T21 list. He went over, got into a bush here, provided early spots on the western flank, and it's something to pay attention to no matter where you're spotting from. As the 2 teams move closer and closer to each other, you will reach a point in many maps to where your presence as a spotter is no longer needed. So if you want to stay and snipe or try to flank and have some fun shooting, that's fine. But once the 2 teams can see each other without you, don't sit there and think you're helping by spotting, because you're doing nothing. All you're doing is taking your gun and eyes out of the fight, where you could have gone somewhere else like you just saw Sebastian do, and use them to help your team win. In this case, he went over to the middle, got engaged in several firefights over here, was wise enough not to attack the TD until the T-54 Mod 1 had moved farther off to the west, so he wouldn't end up getting shot by him. And then he's able to do, how much did he do? He did 876 damage to that T-28 HTC. Meanwhile, the T-54 just went on to the west and let him do it. Didn't come back to help his teammate at all. And that ended up starting the big collapse that ended up being a 10 tank win. From Serene Coast, spotting, then moving on to go on the attack, Sebastian Potachka. Happy hunting.